So I guess I'll start. Hi, everybody. Thank you for coming. My name is Lucy Zhang, and I serve as the International Service Chair. I'm from the Georgia District. And I'm really excited to be here to present this to you guys and that you guys are all here. So moving on to the welcome slide, there is a link to the attendance sheet, like a shortened version of it if you want to somehow memorize that really quick and type that up. But later I'll compile a Google Drive folder with resource guides for each service partner. And this webinar is also being recorded and will be put on YouTube later. So, woo! Yeah. All right. So today, or tonight, I guess, we'll be talking to you guys about our international service partners that Circle K International works to support and represent. These are the ones that we'll be talking about, except for Better World Books today. So Billy will be talking to you guys about the makeup of the service committee and who represents each service partner on the committee.
Yeah, so a breakdown for any of our members who may not be totally familiar with an international committee even is. So Circle K International has a structure to it. There is the club level, there's the district level, there's the international level. So at the international level, there's the international board, of course, so like elected representatives, ultimately international president, international vice president, there are trustees, but there are also a whole system of committees that any member can get involved in if they want to make a difference at the international level in spearheading this organization. One of those committees is the International Service Committee. So the International Service Committee, again, is responsible for spearheading all of our major partnerships with Circle K International. And particularly, we have March of Dimes, the partner. Our ambassador this year is Anna Marie. We have Students Team Up to Fight Hunger Stuff. Our ambassador is Skylar. St. Baldrick's, our ambassador is Matthew Grimmer. And UNICEF USA, our ambassadors are Adriana and Anna. So yeah, and when talking about international and talking about that whole structure and everything, it's super, super important to remember who the most important person in all of that is, and that is the member. By all accounts in Circle K International, the most important person, the most important group is the members who make up our organization, because we would have absolutely nothing without our members. And when it comes to service, you know, this entire time we're going to be talking about service partners, ways to get involved, etc. None of that could or would happen without you all. So thank you for all the work that you do, and definitely realize the vital role that you play in this organization as we're moving forward. So that's what I hear.
All right, awesome. So we're going to start talking about our service partners now. The first one up is March of Dimes. The ambassador, her name is Anna Marie McGuire. She couldn't be here tonight, so I will be covering for her. March of Dimes is a nonprofit U.S. organization that works to improve the health of mothers and babies, and their mission is to decrease the prematurity birth rate. So the preterm birth rate right now in the United States is 9.8%. So that means that 1 in 10 babies is born too soon. And this can cause birth defects as well as cause potential health defects or health conditions in the future. The U.S. preterm birth rate is among the worst of high resource nations, but it's also a worldwide problem. The Prematurity Campaign focuses on research, care innovation, community engagement, advocacy, and also family-centered newborn intensive care units, also known as NICUs. So there are a few ways that we have suggested for you to get involved in March of Dimes really easily. So November is actually Prematurity Awareness Month. So during that whole month, we will be pushing, partnering with March of Dimes. And then specifically on Saturday, November 17th, that is World Prematurity Day. And we are pushing for people to wear purple on that day and share it on social media, tagging Circle K International, using the hashtags World Prematurity Day, hashtag Prematurity Awareness Month, hashtag March of Dimes. Some hands-on service projects you can do for March of Dimes are making cards for the NICU nurses who work really hard to take care of the premature babies, and also making care packages for moms and babies who are in the hospital. One thing that I want to mention in terms of making care packages is that you should make sure to reach out to the hospitals that you're hoping to help and check to make sure that you are fulfilling a need that's there, because they might already have donations coming in from a company, and they might not need a surplus of whatever you're planning to donate. In terms of fundraising, March for Babies is a really big event that they have in the springtime, and it's a walking event that honors families that have experienced premature births. You can go on marchforbabies.org and search for an event near you, or you can just join a virtual walk, which means that you can walk anywhere, anytime, and support March for Babies and March of Dimes. There's no, you don't have to fundraise. You can just walk and form a team with your club. So that's a really good way to volunteer with March of Dimes as well. And then next is the Stuff Ambassador, Skylar, who will be presenting.
Hey everyone, like Lucy already said, my name is Skylar and I am your 2018-2019 Stuff Ambassador. So what I'm going to do is just talk a little bit, like Lucy did, about what Stuff is, and then more how you can get involved. So Stuff stands for Students Team Up to Fight Hunger, and it's a nonprofit that was actually started by a former Circle K member. So to any of you that are thinking about starting your own organization, let this be kind of an inspiration. It's totally doable. And you can definitely go on and do amazing things during CK and after. But he started this nonprofit to raise awareness about hunger in local communities, especially around college campuses. So as that would suggest, Stuff focuses on assisting the hungry and the needy populations in our communities, and inspiring food drives at colleges and universities all across the nation. So if you want to flip to the next slide, thank you. So how you guys can get more involved. The first thing I think I would suggest for you guys to do is definitely to check out the Stuff website. It's just stuff.org, super simple. But one of the best things that they have is they have a pretty extensive list of facts and information about poverty and hunger in America. And I think that one of the best things to do when entering into a service project or service issue as big as hunger is to educate people first and to bring awareness to all those numbers and how vast this problem actually is, which encourages people to get involved and actually have a meaningful experience with the service. So I think I was on there earlier, and it's like 43.1 million Americans are affected by poverty, which is a huge, huge number that we're dealing with. And so just some numbers to throw out there, throw on your social media, mention in meetings. Those are super important to have. So how you can, beyond that, how you can get directly involved with service projects, the obvious one would be to volunteer at a local food bank. Another great resource that Stuff has is they have a few different links and kind of a database to get you started. If you don't know what opportunities are available in your community, they can kind of point you in the right direction of who to reach out to. But a lot of times, food banks are getting tons and tons of donations, and they need help sorting those and distributing them to populations that need them. So that's a great way to get involved, and obviously doing super meaningful service with a lot of impact. The second way that you can get really involved with stuff that you probably have already partaken in to some extent is, of course, food drives. So this can look a lot of different ways. It can be really small if you have an event or a meeting. You can just have members pay to get into the event with cans or non-perishable food items. Kind of the next level up from that, if you're doing bigger food drives, a great way to get people more involved is to do competitions. So stuff really kind of pushes the food fight. And that's actually a great way to get involved with other clubs in your district, other clubs on campus. So getting to know other Circle Ks. I know the Big Ten is having a food fight coming up here. So that's a great way to get people more involved and kind of get that school spirit involved. Or you could always also get involved with food fights with other branches of Kiwanis. There's a lot of ways you could spin that really easily. And kind of the final step above that, which stuff really pushes forward, is their Stuff the Bus event. This is when you get a bus or any other large vehicle, large space, and you try during a certain period of time to fill that bus or space entirely with non-perishable food items and canned goods. A really cool thing about this is it's an easy way to, one, spread a lot of awareness about stuff and have information out for people. It's easy to get people involved that are walking by, so they can donate cash or they can run to the store and get canned goods. And it's just a really fun environment. U of M does one over a weekend. We're always playing music. It's always just a fun time. And it's really rewarding and cool to see kind of that food visibly build up. So that is a great way to get involved. And I would highly encourage, even though it takes a little more planning, to be thinking about that, especially come like March or April. We're going to be doing a big push for those events when food banks aren't getting as many of the donations that they do kind of during the holiday season. But yeah.
Okay. Hi everyone, my name is Matt Grimmer. I'm currently serving on the service committee as the St. Baldrick's ambassador. So the St. Baldrick's Foundation is our international service partner focused on funding childhood cancer research. So they pretty much try and get funding so that way they can help to give research opportunities to different medical professionals and so that way children can participate in them. They do that because right now, about 1 in 285 children are diagnosed with cancer before they hit 20, and there are about a couple different types of cancer, but hundreds of subtypes of cancer. So it's very hard to focus on a research or a cure for each cancer because there are just so many different types, and the odds of just children having like the same kind of cancer is so rare, especially in the same area. So they try and make those funding opportunities, and so that way children can go out, get to those opportunities where they may not be able to in like the little area that they're in. Okay. So there are plenty of different ways that you can get involved with like the St. Baldrick's Foundation. A super simple way is you can just wear a gold ribbon. Gold is like the color for childhood cancer. A gold ribbon will help to show that you stand in solidarity with kids who have cancer. A few weeks ago, actually, my club and we actually made some gold ribbons and then attached them to a little bit of an info card so that way we could pass them out to people and help spread that info. So that's just like a super simple, very cheap way. That way you can help to spread the awareness on childhood cancer. Some other service projects that you could do is you can make chemo care packs. And so these are pretty much just going to be like some little bags or backpacks, and you fill them up with just little things that kids could use when they're getting chemotherapy or after. So you could fill it with like coloring books, little like toys like race cars or dolls, some candy. You can get some lotion because a side effect of chemotherapy is that you get like dry skin. You could put like a fun hat in there so that way they can have something to keep their heads warm because they often do lose their hair. Or you could put something like a lot of warm and fuzzy things in there, just like a fuzzy blanket or some fuzzy socks so that way they can keep warm during it. Another great thing that you could do is get like knitting hats, or you could knit hats with your club. That one's a little bit more intricate, but it's still a lot of fun. I know a big popular thing right now is that there are like hats that kind of look like Disney-like characters. Like I've seen like an Elsa like braid type hat that kids like to wear. Just something fun like that so that way it makes the process of getting chemotherapy a little bit more fun and not as like miserable as it usually is. The big event that we usually do with St. Baldrick's is called Brave the Shave. This is a big fundraising event where you raise some money. You'll sign up online at stbaldricks.org, and then you'll set a goal of how much you want to raise. Then you raise those funds, and then you'll shave your head in an event. You can either join an event with other people, or you can just set up your own event. Last year, I personally set up my own event. I did it at our club's end of the year banquet, just because that was personally just worked out better for me and my club and how everything like that. But do whatever works for you. It's a great way. When you shave your head, a lot of people will start to ask you about why you shaved your head, or like how it felt. And so you can help to spread like info about childhood cancer about that. You don't have to do Brave the Shave if you don't want to. I know a lot of people don't want to like lose the hair. That's perfectly fine. You could do other ways. You could host like a partial proceeds. You could do like a dodgeball tournament, just any kind of way to help kids, so that way they can get that research and help to end childhood cancer. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Okay, hold on. Give me 1 second. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Adriana Ortiz, and I'm your UNICEF ambassador for this year. Calvin. I'm really happy to see everyone here today. So UNICEF, what does it stand for? Well, UNICEF stands for the United Nations Children's Emergency Fund. It's an agency that provides assistance from education, sanitation, humanitarian needs, basically, in developing countries. There are around like 160 countries and territories that UNICEF does work with. You can go to the next slide. So why does this matter? Well, Circle K actually has a is there feedback? Oh yeah, there you go. So why does this matter? Well, Circle K actually has a 5-year signature project with UNICEF called WASH. And WASH stands for the Water Sanitation Hygiene. And Circle K's main focus is Haiti, a country where 44% of the population lack clean water. It's actually one of the most dire in the Western Hemisphere with this crisis. And so our goal is just to raise funds and awareness about this. As many don't know, there's actually 2.1 billion people that consume or use unsafe drinking water each day. There are children and women that walk miles to an unclean water source each day, and that's one of the main reasons why they're unable to be getting an education, as most of their time is spent transporting water. And so, next slide. The ways that many Circle Kers are getting involved is through placing water facts on water bottles and the water jug walk. So instead of like so this is like carrying jugs of, you don't have to fill it with water. Instead, you can put like sand and just transporting it, like similar, like raising awareness of the women and children when they carry the waters, to just letting people know like, hey, this is what they're doing each day, and getting like a firsthand experience. A lot of fundraising that people are doing this year is the 6K for 6K challenge. So our goal this year is to actually raise $6,000 for the WASH project. And so a lot of Circle Kers are doing like a month dedicated to running a 6K each day. And I know 2 people in this video chat are doing it, Chelsea and Lucy. So props to you guys.
And Laura.
And Laura. I think.
And Marissa.
All those people. 10 out of 10.
Oops.
I think today was the day I sponsored you, Lucy, right? Yeah, today is that day. So yeah, so a lot of people, so the 6K for 6K challenge is actually a whole month dedicated to running the 6K each day. And you have people actually sponsoring you. So the first day of the month is $1. So somebody gives you $1, and that the money that you raise throughout the month is donated to the WASH project. So let's say the first day is $1, the second day is $2. So you just like throughout the month, you have people sponsor you. And so by the end of it, you should have like $465 that you could donate to, that you are going to be donating to the WASH project. Another way for fundraising is actually Trick or Treat for UNICEF. And I don't know if people are worried about whether or not you can still order your boxes. You can still order your boxes. It's never too late. So Trick or Treat for UNICEF is where UNICEF provides you the boxes to go out and raise money to wash. So a lot of people do this on Halloween night, but you don't have to specifically do it on Halloween night. You can actually just carry it around you. Like I have a couple friends that are just going through their classes and people are like, oh, what is that box? And they're like, oh, I'm trick-or-treating for UNICEF. So it's a really good conversation starter and letting people know like what's happening and the everything that's going on with the water crisis and stuff like that. So yeah, Billy, did you want to chime in?
Yeah, thank you, Adriana. That was awesome. You covered so much. It was great. Our international goal is $240,000 by 2022. So as Adriana said, though, we do have that $6,000 goal for the month of October, this October for Trick or Treat for UNICEF. So definitely be sure that your clubs are doing stuff, even if you don't have those little orange boxes. We do have a whole UNICEF USA resource guide in the international website. And on page 10 of that guide, there are all kinds of like Halloween themed wash events you could host and fundraisers. So definitely it's never too late to get involved there. And so this is our first major campaign of any year, Trick or Treat for UNICEF for Wash. But the month of March coming up, we're going to be having March Water Madness. So definitely be on the lookout for all the things that are going to be coming there. And be planning ahead with your club to have anything from a wash week with a different fundraiser every day of the week, or anything else that y'all can think of to raise funds and awareness. And then another big thing to always just remember and consider when doing work with the WASH Project for UNICEF is that UNICEF is a sustainable development organization, and they are all about doing more than just putting a bandage on the situation. So UNICEF is partnered with the government they do work with. They are partnered with the government in Haiti, with the communities in Haiti with whom they're doing work. And they have UNICEF representatives who live there, know what the folks need, and are doing work directly with those folks. So that it's not just Westerners coming in with their ideas of how things should be solved and doing whatever they think is best. It's very much a collaborative effort meant to break the cycle as it exists in terms of inadequate water sanitation and hygiene, and empower folks to move forward and to build up their own lives through education and all sorts of great collaborative means. So that's what we're doing with the WASH Project. So much more than a bandage. Every dollar that you can raise, every person that you can make aware is really making a difference. So do whatever you can in that sense. So next step. So next up, we have tomorrow sign.
Morning.
Is anyone talking about that?
Marnie.
Oh, I thought I muted myself. I already started talking.
You're good.
Anyway, sorry for the technical difficulties. So, my name is Marnie Ramirez-Alogas. Here I'm serving as your International Service Initiatives Ambassador, and I'm going to talk to y'all a little bit about the Tomorrow Fund. So what the Tomorrow Fund is, it's a reimbursement program that grants money to clubs and districts in order to help them complete a service project. So clubs and districts may receive between $200 USD to $2,000 USD towards a service project impacting their campus or their community. So the application is already opened. It opened on October 1st and it closes on December 1st. All projects must be completed before the reimbursements can be received. Next slide. All right, so next we're gonna kind of have a little bit of a discussion regarding different service ideas that any of y'all may have, so that we can all kind of like bounce off ideas on each other and really like think about new ways that we can all like serve our community and our campus. So some ideas that we have for all of you, some recurring service ideas that we have is to read to kids via any local library program, or to even participate in a tutoring program at your local high school, middle school, or elementary school. So if we want to start the discussion there for any recurring service projects that anybody else has.
To kick it off, I can talk about just what my club did last year in the Florida district, the US Circle K. I applied for a Tomorrow Fund grant and received about $750 to do a hurricane relief project because Hurricane Irma hit Southwest Florida last year pretty hard. That's where I'm from. It struck a chord, and so I got my club in Northern Florida to mobilize, and we ordered about over 100 backpacks. We ordered 550 menstrual hygiene products. We ordered 200 bottles of shampoo, 200 bottles of conditioner, 400 bars of soap, packed those up in a bag. So I'll put those all in the backpacks and I deliver them to organizations that do a lot of work with underprivileged areas in Southwest Florida that were still reeling from the storm. So that's just one idea of something that you could do. So yeah, who else has done something? Who else has this awesome idea? They're like, I just need money for it. Let's talk.
I can talk. So one project I found that's really helpful for clubs is to have service projects during your meeting. So one thing I've been suggesting to a lot of my clubs is to do dog toys, where you literally get old t-shirts, cut them up, braid them, and then donate them to a humane society or like an animal shelter. And it's a great project. It's so much fun.
Carolina's district did last year. We also applied for the Tomorrow Grant, and we use it to make NICU blankets. So kind of like March of Dimes collaboration at our district convention. It's a really great way to kind of promote the Tomorrow Fund for the following year, because it's kind of branded as like, oh, we applied for the Tomorrow Fund and you definitely too. So that's also a really great way to kind of be active with the international community.
Something the Florida district did 2 years back was actually partner with a nonprofit that our Kiwanis Club works heavily with Healthy Families Florida, making Zika kits, making an impact in South Florida as well as most of the Florida community.
Okay. Well, does anybody else have anything they want to talk about? Okay, so then I'm going to talk a little bit. I'll mention a little bit about some of the like single service ideas that we also have like one time. So some things that you can do is like helping at a local 5K or any large scale festival that's nearby, or even helping out with the Humane Society with adoption events. I know we have a lot of members who really like animals, so a lot of members like animals. You know, you can also do things like cooking at the Ronald McDonald House, or do beach park campus cleanup. So yeah, does anybody want to feel free to chime in on some of like the smaller scale single day service events that they have?
And it's something that my club does every year too. We have a lock-in. I know that a lot of other clubs do this. So we go a room, we rent the place, or work with a local community partner and don't have to pay money for it. But we spend 12 hours from usually like 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. in this space, and we have a lot of miniature service projects. So we generally do something like the dog toys. We use like old t-shirts, cut them up like Marissa was suggesting, and we paint rocks. So with little like, happy messages, uplifting thoughts, etc. And we hide them around our school campus so that folks can see them and be uplifted, that sort of thing. So it's a great time for service, it's a great time for fellowship and leadership. And it's a whole lot of service hours and a great way to get people knowing each other and involved like within the club. So it's definitely something that I recommend. Yeah.
That actually reminded me of something that our Circle K did last year. No, last month. Oh. Can you guys hear me okay? I don't know if there's like okay. Oh, I can hear myself back. Sorry. That's weird. So what our Circle K did last year was doing like little stress balls during finals. So we put like little balloons and we filled them up with flour, and then we tied them, and then we put like little messages and the little CKI logo, and then we left them in the library for students during finals week, because you already know how stressful that is, and just having that little like motivation, like doing that type of stuff. And then I know our Circle K is doing a field day at a local Boys and Girls Club. So we're just doing like after school on a Friday, we're gonna have some dodgeball out there. We're gonna have tug of war. We're gonna have some like what is it, potato sack races, just like little activities for them to have outside. So that type of stuff is really nice. So you can contact like your local Boys and Girls Club and see if you can organize something like that. So yeah.
Something that I like to do for like single day or like one-time service is to reach out to like local city halls, because the university tends to be around like various cities, and it's nice to be involved in the community, and there's always like a ton of different community events going on that need volunteers, so it's a good way to branch out and make that connection, networking.
So
I
to
want to
tie in a
kind of
little bit,
expand. Oh, sorry. I want to kind of expand on like helping at a like 5K. So my club specifically, like me and Marissa, we volunteered at many 5Ks over the past few years. One that we did was the color run, where you get to throw the powders on people. So that was colorful. Marissa can tell you more about it. I didn't have the greatest impression. But we
I
also
loved it. It was so much fun.
Anyway, we also volunteered at like a Halloween 5K. So we got to dress up in our costumes and hold up banners. And we've also volunteered at like a bike rally before. So there's a lot of 5Ks near you probably, and you just need to search them up and ask if you can volunteer. And they most likely will appreciate the help in just like setting up, having race coordinators or anything like that.
Yeah, those last couple are definitely like a great point. There's so many like community partners, like other organizations on campus that have so many like events. So definitely, you know, not every event has to be recreating the wheel or making your own thing from scratch. Like definitely get involved with something existing. Work with folks who need the volunteers. Great way to get involved always.
Here at CDCC, one of the things that we did this past year was we got with, I'm very good with our March of Dimes representative here in Catawba County. And we do a lot of help with set up things like we did the March for Babies in March. We helped set up a March for that. We've helped set up Prematurity Awareness Month for them back at the first of the year, and getting things kicked off for that, for the March of just like coming up here really soon, they're going to be doing a lot of chef auctions where with the March of Dimes. So any of the organizations, especially since it's one of our initiatives, can get with their local representative with March of Dimes and actually do some a lot of volunteer work with them and get out into the community is another good thing to do.
so I just want to tie in a little bit to Laura's comment earlier regarding our Give a Day campaign. So something that I know it sounds a little crazy, but something that you're maybe even on a division level, district level, or club level, something that you can definitely pull off is a 24-hour service marathon. That was probably one of my favorite service experiences when my division did that. So, you know, not all the members have to be there for the entire 24 hours, but an effective way to do it is by finding various different service events going on, like in the same weekend, and then kind of just going back to back between service projects. And then overnight, when there's nothing really to do per se, you can do some of the tabletop ideas that we were talking about earlier. So you can, that's a great time that you can spend creating cards for the NICU, you know, making care packages, or even having like drives where people can drop off some donations. So that's just one way that you can do it. I know that when the last time we did a 24-hour service marathon, we went to like Habitat for Humanity So we were able to help them with their resale home. We served food for the homeless. We went to a local elementary school to kind of beautify their campus. We did some light cleaning, and we also put up very positive messages and posters that we just hung up around their walls so that they could have like a positive and inspiring role model to look up to. So those are just a few ideas. Of course, with such a big international organization, the ideas are endless, the opportunities are endless, and just anything you can do, like you just put your mind to it and you guys can get it. So.
All right, so this kind of wraps up the end of our webinar. I want to emphasize that the service starters that we just talked about, you should definitely think about applying for the Tomorrow Fund to get supplies for them, from a small project all the way to like a large scale district project. We want to see all sorts of applications this year. So if you have any questions, you can ask them now. I'll have a moment of silence for anyone to ask questions. Okay, cool. Oh, okay.
So for all of you that have used the Tomorrow Fund in the past, I'm curious as to, because we all know that it comes in form of a reimbursement. So how do y'all typically get the funds to do the project at first?
Billy, did you want to answer?
I mean, I don't think that my answer is particularly helpful. I just saved up a couple paychecks and spent that money. So yeah, that's definitely an option. You can always work with, you know, Kiwanis Club. They might be willing to lend you some of that money, and therefore they can get the reimbursement. You actually do have to go through your Kiwanis Club anyway. Yeah, I'm fairly certain, at least I did, to get that Tomorrow Fund reimbursement. So that could be a great way if they're willing to work with you on that. Also, just like, you know, as with anything in Circle K, if you're looking to raise money, etc., in addition to Kwani, and just reaching out to family and friends and asking if they'd be willing to help you out as you're trying to, you know, do something really great. So there are always folks willing to lend a hand.
Yeah. You can also try to partner with organizations on campus, especially maybe bigger organizations that have funds set aside from SGA or something for really big projects. Yeah.
So there's something that I know a lot of people have done. So they kind of just fundraise like crazy to reach the amount that they need to front the cost. And then afterwards, they're able, like after they get the reimbursements, they're able to convert the funds that they raise to be like administrative funds instead, so that the club can kind of keep some of the money, but then not keep some of the money, but like, I guess they fronted it. But some great fundraising ideas that you can have for that would be just going to maybe your local restaurants or even some of the larger franchises. A lot of them are very open to having fundraisers like that. Maybe you have some food places on campus. You can feel free to go ahead and ask the different like food places in your food court if any of them have fundraising opportunities, because those typically have good turnouts just because people are already on campus and they're willing to, like, you know, just go out there to support. Or even if it's possible for your club, you can also do like a food delivery to your whatever meetings you have. So then you could like post up an order form and then you bring the food to them and then you get to use the profits for your service project.
Awesome. Does anybody else have questions that they want to ask, like right now before we wrap up? No. All right. So what's that?
Can I chime in for a second? Sorry, this is like pretty important. So something that we haven't mentioned yet is pertaining to the service committee. Definitely, you all are doing amazing service, and we want to make sure that we know what kind of service that you're doing. So please, at the club level, if you're a club secretary, club officer, make sure that your club is filling out your international club MRF. Some of your districts might be calling them CMRs, something like that, but definitely be sure that you're recording the service hours and submitting them to the Membership Update Center, because otherwise international doesn't know what y'all have been up to. So we really want to make sure that our members are recognized, and therefore you have, the opportunity to get awards, you get recognition for working with the various service partners, you get all sorts of amazing benefits, and we get to see all the amazing work that you're doing, and we get to highlight you for all that amazing work that you're doing. So please, please be sure that you're filling out those International Club MRFs. And just another note in general, we have been talking all about these service partners, but all the service that you do is so important and so valued and so, incredible. So we thank you for that, whether or not it is with one of these service partners. Definitely, again, as I said in the beginning of this webinar, nothing would happen without you. So thank you for everything that you do.
On that same note, if you are raising money right now for TrickOrTreat for UNICEF, please make sure you upload or give your money to international this month. I don't know how to say it, but please make sure you're sending in your money this month rather than holding on to it till the end of the year, because we do want to have an accurate number of how much money we raised this month. So yeah. Also, it's PKI week, so tomorrow is focused on stuff. Wednesday is St. Baldrick's, and then I believe Friday is March of Dimes. So keep an eye out for all of the promotion for it, and also try and get involved yourself with PKI week this week.
And all kinds of resources. We have a partnership guide for every single one of these partnerships that has been talked about. If you just go to the international website, you click the resources tab, and you click the service and watch mini tab in the tab. And it opens up a whole thing with all of our partnership guides and different resources for these service partners. I know that Lucy's going to put them all in the Google Drive, but just for folks at home in this YouTube video, or anyone who wants to get on that right now, they're all available.
Yep. And since people have mentioned it, you'll be able to upload your own resources that you have for certain service partners. If you have any that you want to share with everybody, you're welcome to share your own in the drive. So yeah, my contact information is right here. I'll also put every service partner ambassador's contact information into the drive, so that if you want to host an event or something, or have a service project related to a service partner and you need some help, you can reach out to the ambassador. But, all right, I think we're gonna end it here. Thank you everybody for coming. I'm really glad that you all came in and stayed, and I hope that this was helpful for everybody.